on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
It is 99.3 Nigeria Info, and good morning again for those of you just joining us on the Morning Crossfire. It's time to take a look at the stories making it round the front of the pages of the papers this morning. Welcome to the show. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry, 7:34 from our studio this morning, and I have the Daily Sun on the table already. The Punch is here, the New Telegraph, as well as Daily Trust newspaper.
On my side, I got the Guardian newspaper, the Nation newspaper, also have here the Daily Independent, as well as the Vanguard. As usual, we're up on Facebook, on YouTube also. You can watch us live anywhere you are. And you can listen also anywhere you are in the world on our website, nigeriainfo.fm. Remember to leave us your comment on Facebook, also on YouTube, and Twitter also at Nigeria Info FM on all of these headlines that interest you today. Our WhatsApp number is also very, very active. 08095975805, 08095975805. And we have joining us this morning on the show to take a look at these headlines, Professor Idoko, who's the Dean School of Social Sciences, Christopher University. Good morning, sir. Good to have you here.
Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
All right. If you are ready, we are.
Yes, we
First story from the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is a media partner. Buhari orders evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa. And there are three riders on the Guardian. President receives reports of special envoy. 640 have registered to return home, says Dabiri Erewa. Ezekwesili, others ask Ramaphosa to apologize. We find this story also here in the Nation newspaper. Buhari to South Africa, stop attacks on Nigeria. Air peace to bring back 320 tomorrow. On the front page of the Daily Independent, xenophobic attacks. We can't stop this violence. If you didn't hear that right, we cannot stop this violence, says South Africa. And there are four riders on this one, on the Daily Independent. Buhari orders evacuation of Nigerians. 640 Nigerians ready to fly back home. 2 dead in new bout of violence. We can sue for compensation, says Oyebode. Find the details on the new Daily Independent newspaper. This story is also the banner headline on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. South Africans plan ambush for returning Nigerians. Oh dear. And there are riders on this one on the Vanguard. Buhari orders immediate evacuation of Nigerians, receives a report from Special Envoy. 640 Nigerians eager to travel to return, says Dabiri Erewa. NLC blames federal government. Will take appropriate action, AU tells Serap on request to sue South Africa for $10 billion. Also, criminals behind attacks. Government has planned to end the attack, says South Africa's defense and police ministers. And about the ambush, there is a photo here on the front page of the Vanguard, tagged one of the text messages going round Nigerians in South Africa. And if I would read out this to you, you find it on the front page. It says, "Hello everyone, just wanted to pass this message for us all to be careful against tomorrow, as we have just been briefed by a friend from Suzuma that tomorrow is going to be terrible in Durban. Locals will be checking all the taxis to find foreigners. So be alert and be careful. Pass this message to all your friends and family members to caution them about tomorrow. If possible, no one must make a move to town tomorrow," and so on and so forth. This is raising quite an alarm in South Africa right now.
Let's look at the similar headlines from the Daily Sun here. As Special Envoy returns from South Africa, Buhari, Nigerians must be brought home now. Riders pledges to assist in dealing with citizens engaged in crime. 640 ready to return, says Nightcom. That's coming from Daily Sun newspaper. Similar headline from the Punch. Buhari receives envoy to South Africa. Orders evacuation of 640 Nigerians. Riders, Air Peace designates 2 planes for operation. Nigerians shouldn't be second-class citizens anywhere. The presidency speaking. The Punch is the paper. From the New Telegraph, How to End Attacks on Nigerians by Asu. New Telegraph newspaper. Riders, Buhari orders immediate evacuation of Nigerians. FG to enroll returnees in social program. Night come, 640 eager to return from South Africa. New Telegraph for you. And yes, let's look at the Daily Trust. South Africa FG begins repatriation of Nigerians tomorrow. Daily Trust newspaper.
Professor Idoko.
Yeah, that's quite interesting what's going on in Africa and what's going on between Nigeria and South Africa.
Right.
The xenophobic attacks on Nigerians and other African citizens is actually a pity. So, when you talk about diplomatic relations between South Africa and other African nations, and it has degenerated to this point where sporadic attacks are levied against African citizens in South Africa against the backdrop of what Africans did for South Africa to exit the apartheid regime. It is unfortunate.
Right. They blamed Africans or Nigerians in particular for peddling drugs and destroying the lives of their young ones by selling drugs to them.
But that's a fallacy because South Africa is actually built on violence and drugs. During the apartheid regime, the black Africans in South Africa took to drug, took to violence. So it's a culture already amongst black South Africans. So they cannot be blaming Nigerians or other African citizens of promoting violence or peddling drugs. There are criminals everywhere in the world.
Right.
Criminals everywhere. So you cannot single out Nigerian citizens in South Africa for attacks just because you think they engage in illegal business. And then you attack their legitimate businesses. Isn't that wrong?
Well, one other issue making people talk is the fact that the South African government has said they cannot pay compensation. Well, SERAP has asked the AU, to look into this issue. They're saying we can't. It's not in our laws to pay compensation. And we have about 640 Nigerians billed to return. The question is, what are they returning home to?
Many of them ordinarily wouldn't want to come back home because what are they returning home to, as you have rightly said? And I hear the government is offering them 10,000 naira to start business.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere also.
There is a headline here that says federal government to enroll returnees in social program.
Yeah, but I also saw some news items saying it's 10,000 naira.
I saw that too. It's not confirmed yet, but I would really like to. 10,000 naira for what exactly?
I don't know. But I tell you something. 640 Nigerians applying to return home. How many Nigerians are in South Africa? In 2011, it was stated that there are 24,000 Nigerians in South Africa.
In 2011?
In 2011. I don't know what the population will be now, but it would have grown tremendously because of the influx in recent times.
Unofficially, there are figures that Nigerians there in South Africa should be up to over 1 million.
Possibly so, even 2 million. It has been bandied about that Nigerians in South Africa may be close to 2 million. Therefore, if you're talking about 640 returning home, it's just a trickle.
So already Nigeria has a revenue problem. We can hardly even fund our budget. So we have these people coming back home who had businesses there that they have to leave to come back to Nigeria.
Right.
So I'm wondering how this is going to play out. So they come back and they get off that plane, and then what? So for those of them who've been living in South Africa for so long, what would they do? Don't we then have another 640 Nigerians who are open to violence or criminality because there's nothing for them to do?
Well, that's the irony. But I think that Nigeria actually had blunders, in retaliating against what South Africa had done to Nigerians. The violent attacks against Nigerians and other African citizens had been encouraged and promoted by government officials.
Oh, it has?
Yes, government officials.
In South Africa?
In South Africa. And that was why they were emboldened and encouraged to continue the attacks. Even till now, they are still spoiling for more fights against Nigerians. Now, I tell you something. The government was so tepid in reacting, to these attacks this time around. Take Jonathan's government in 2012, actually, when 125 Nigerians were deported by South Africa. And the reason given was that they didn't have valid vaccination certificates.
Right.
Let me read this to you, please.
Okay.
So when I read this headline earlier, my I didn't know how to
You
react.
had to repeat it.
Yes.
I had to repeat it. It's here on the front page of the Daily Independent. We cannot stop this violence, says South African government. Let me read it to you. South Africa's defense minister has said that no government could stop the type of urban unrest currently gripping the country following a fresh wave of mob violence in Johannesburg on Sunday. Nosiviwe Mapisa Kaluka made a comment on a local TV station on Monday after her government was accused of failing to bring the anti-foreigner violence that first began 2 weeks under control. They still deny that these are xenophobic attacks.
If that statement, were to be true, then it's irresponsible, very, very irresponsible. And I think South African government officials are talking this way because Nigeria has not retaliated forcefully.
Right.
Nigeria should have retaliated forcefully.
How?
It's not just about
What would we have done?
one, recall your ambassador or your high commissioner and
Right.
expel their own high commissioner.
They have shut their embassy here, remember?
Yeah, they've shut their embassy, but they left it open before, but they had to shut it down because
The fear of
Nigeria-
reprisal.
Yes, fear of reprisal. Now, what should have been done was to have the foreign minister speak more forcefully. Imagine the excuses he has been making. When some Nigerian officials, Nigerian delegation attending the WF, World Economic Forum,
Right.
refused to return, when the official government position was that the High Commissioner should come back. And they pulled her from the WEF. Yet some governors and some government officials remained.
Right.
And the argument of the foreign minister was that they had already arrived there before the withdrawal, before the recall of the High Commissioner.
So all
Nonsense.
the planes traveling or leaving South Africa
Yes,
We're on
have
break.
stopped moving out of South
I
Africa.
don't understand.
Let's see another very hot story that we talked about during Chit Chat today. Police warn Shiites against planned Ashura procession, insist group has been proscribed and their action is terrorism. How government hold government responsible if violence breaks out. Shiite saying that on the front page of the Daily Independent. The story is also here on The Guardian. Police beef up security in Abuja as Shiites hold procession today. Vow to treat march as an act of terrorism. Federal government is plotting to implicate IMN members, sect alleges. Abuja residents worried over possible violent clashes. If you move over also to The Nation, you find this story. Shiites dare IGP Adamu on planned procession. Government should not contemplate attacking us. Police say IMN remains proscribed on the front page of The Nation. The story is also across other dailies today.
It's here on the front page of the New Telegraph. IGP to CPs. Stop planned procession by Shiites. It's an order, Professor.
Yes, it is an order. And that order is in place and in good faith. Now, the Shiites or the IMN has been proscribed.
Right.
So it is not an organization recognized by law or by government. And some people have even suggested that it has become a terrorist organization. Therefore, how can you allow an organization that doesn't exist any longer to carry out procession? I heard that, or read in the news that the IMN head, that is Zaki, and his wife, Zinat, are being programmed to travel out again on
Right.
medical care.
That's
The
right.
application is before the court.
Yeah, to Indonesia and Malaysia. Well,
Right.
those two countries are being considered.
Options,
Either Indonesia or Malaysia.
Right.
And it's also a lifeline being offered, the Shiite movement leader. I don't know why they want to embark on procession against what the government has done. It's challenging the government.
So
And I
what
think that
what the
procession
Shiites are
should-
saying is this is a religious procession carried out by Shiites across the world. Earlier on the show, I did a quick search of what Ashura is. It's a religious procession, a religious observance by Muslims around the world. So this is not happening just in Nigeria. It's for Shiites across the world. I remember when the group was proscribed, the government said their religious inclinations would not be trampled on. So problem is where to draw the line between this being a religious procession as against being a protest. This is not a protest. So how will the police be able to manage this?
Yes, the line is too thin, for this procession to be allowed to go on. Yes, in ordinary sense, if it's peaceful procession, you should allow it to happen.
But they claim it's always been peaceful over the years.
Well, no.
Except for the time they had an altercation with the military officer. I think that was when they actually came into limelight. But it's been going on for years.
No, the last one wasn't just peaceful procession. It was a protest march, and some elements within that protest march had guns.
No. We're mixing up issues now. So there was a protest, but this Ashura is an annual religious procession, just like
under
Easter and Christmas for them.
Is under the aegis of what? Because
being Muslims.
It has to be. Yes, it has to be. They are saying they, belonging to that movement, are going to engage in a procession that they should be allowed. But as long as it is under that, it shouldn't be allowed because the organization has been proscribed.
So we have an altercation probably waiting to happen today. Nigeria Info will give you the highlight as it goes on. Please be careful as you move around town today.
Indeed.
That's the best advice coming from this side. There's a similar headline. DSS warns of plans by groups and individuals to destabilize Nigeria. You can find these headlines across the papers today. It's also in some of the papers, including the Vanguard newspaper, where it reads here, fake news. Some people plotting to set Nigeria on fire, says DSS. You can read up that story here. Let's see another one, shall we?
It's here on the front page of the New Telegraph. DSS, there are plans to set Nigeria on fire. The New Telegraph for you from the Punch newspaper. Some people plotting to set Nigeria on fire. The DSS speaking there from the Punch. From Daily Sun newspaper, some people, external forces working against Nigeria's unity. Progress, DSS, raising the alarm right there on the Daily Sun newspaper.
So they attack some subversive elements trying to incite Nigerians or pit one ethnic group against another, but there are no names to the individuals or the groups.
So why wouldn't they name the individuals if they have intelligence? Why put out fake news, and begin to cause panic, amongst citizens of Nigeria? I think if DSS, which is a secret police, has enough evidence that some groups are plotting to cause destabilization in Nigeria or cause disaffection amongst ethnic groups in Nigeria, they should be able to specify those groups so that they can go after them
and tell Nigerians what to watch out for.
What to watch out for, and what to.
Some would say, Professor, some would say that DSS is actually acting like a political party who comes to the public and give an outcry over some perceived infringement on its or her rights, one right or the other. And then when you look critically, nothing is really going on. If DSS really is a secret service, shouldn't we be talking about gathering intelligence and nipping this in the bud without the public, even knowing about it in the first place? What will this cause really? To cause panic? Or what else?
Yeah, that's why I said it's just meant to cause panic, unnecessary panic. I think it is unfortunate that an intelligence organization like the DSS operates in this manner. You have appropriately named it. Sometimes they can become political in their plays, and I think Nigerians, they are already in huge insecurity situation. So nothing is new to Nigerians.
So this information is not helping us.
No, it's not.
Moving forward.
It's causing unnecessary panic.
Let's talk about elections. Tribunal nullifies Orji Kalu's election, orders supplementary poll. This is on the front page of the Daily Independent. Judgment victory for lovers of democracy, says Hombunwa. I'll reclaim my mandate at appeal court, says Senator Kalu. Similar one on the Daily Independent. Tribunal upholds Governor El Rufai's re-election. You find this on the Daily Independent. If you move over to the Guardian, a similar headline here. Court upholds election of Ekweremadu, Akunife, Uba, and others. And also the nation, Senator Tinubu El-Rufai win, Kalu loses. A lot of challenges in courts, and the results are out.
From Daily Trust newspaper, Tribunal sacks Orji Kalu, front page above the nameplate. Below the nameplate of Daily Trust newspaper, just beside the nameplate of Daily Sun, tribunals affirm El-Rufai Ekweremadu, Korocha Ekwenife, Uba's elections. Daily Sun, writer, I am not losing sleep over supplementary polls order. Kalu speaking. Daily Sun is the paper for you. The speaker of the New Telegraph right now, Abia North, I won't lose sleep over tribunal judgment. Kalu. Prof, it seems the day of reckoning is here for politicians.
Yes, the tribunals are actually overflowing with cases arising from the last election. And Orji Kalu can afford to say that he doesn't lose any sleep, or is not going to lose any sleep over the nullification of his election, because he's already an APC chieftain. And when politicians shift positions, they know why they do that. Mark you that he had a running case in the courts over fraud as a former governor of Abia State.
Right.
Now, he decided to push back by joining APC. He used to be in PDP, a high-flying member of PDP. Now he shifted to APC, hoping to get some reprieve, and he has got it, and stood for an election as senator and won by crook or by whatever. Now his election has been nullified. I'm sure he's going to the appeal courts, and you can imagine what may happen.
Right.
You can't hope for any justice in this country.
Let's see a final story as we leave on the show today. You find this one here on the front page of several papers today. Rape case, Busola drags Fatoyibo to court. Pastor Ashimolowo compelled to appear as witness. Also, you find this story on The Guardian. Dakolo demands apology from Fatoyibo over alleged rape. Move over to The Nation. Ashimolowo to testify against the Koza pastor. And on The Vanguard, Koza court summons Ashimolowo, ask Fatoyibo to appear within 14 days. Professor.
Yes, this case between Fatoyibo and the young woman, it's a bit funny to me. Now she's dragging Fatoyibo to court, whereas there's investigation going on, criminal investigation for that matter.
Right.
And now she decides to go to court and claiming 10 million, which she's also denying.
Right.
That she didn't claim that. And people are saying, and I think they may be right, that she's doing all this just to damage Fatoyibo as much as possible.
Why do you think so?
Well, I think so because I know that he's not going to win this case.
Why wouldn't she?
Because she will be pressured, to prove this case, without all reasonable doubts.
How? So if
pardon? Go on.
So she claims she was raped.
She claims.
And she has gone to court. How is that to the discredit of Fatoyibo?
No, I'm saying that there is an ongoing investigation.
Instigated by?
No, by the police.
Yes.
She reported the case,
right.
rape case.
And the police had invited Fatoyibo the other day.
Yes.
Twice, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
the first day and the second day.
Yes.
And he was granted bail, which means an investigation is ongoing.
Yes.
And now she has gone to court.
Now she abandons that line and goes to court.
But
so both
lines are legal options, aren't they?
Well, there are legal options, but I'm saying, why don't you wait for this to be concluded so that you can have a prima facie case against this man? You don't wait for that, then you jump into the court.
But the court would also look at the evidences. That's what the court would do.
Which evidence? There's none yet.
Well, that's for the court to decide, yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that while investigation is ongoing, you wait for the investigation to be concluded. Otherwise, there will be no evidence for the court to try.
We'll be following up on that case as well as with other stories, but we need to wrap up now. Thank you all for joining the front pages today. We see you all on Facebook, on YouTube, also on WhatsApp. Thank you. When we come back, okay, we have a comment on WhatsApp from Tokes, who's joining us. He says he lived in South Africa for 18 years. It is not a fallacy that a lot of Nigerians, most Oh, come on. Okay, so he's saying that many Nigerians do sell drugs in South Africa. There's also comments from others, but we need to wrap up now. When we come back from the break, we're talking about the automobile industry in Nigeria. All those vehicles you buy, all those vehicles called made in Nigeria, are they truly made in Nigeria?
Are they made in Nigeria?
And we would have people join us from Pojo and also from Innocent Vehicles Manufacturing. They claim to be one of the made in Nigerian vehicles. So we'll have that conversation from 8 to 9. So make sure to join us. Professor Idoko, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Thank
you for having me.
Nigeria will be back just after the break. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.